Culturally Clueless.
All right, okay, guys, it's time. So Trump allegedly leaked a very personal, awkward message to Pam on Truth Social, and then he tried to allegedly cover it up an hour later. Let's see what happens with that. Then big time shout out to actor Javier Bardem, who is known, for example, from his latest movie, F1, a movie about the Formula One race, and he didn't hold back on the red carpet. He was talking genocide, he was talking Gaza, and many people are starting to speak out now. Actors, singers. We need more. We need more and more. And last but not least, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I never liked that woman, but what is going on? Is she backpedaling? She's talking genocide now? With that said, welcome to a brand new episode of Culturally Clueless, and salam alaikum.
Culturally Clueless.
Okay, you guys, welcome to a brand new episode. Thanks for being here this week. Thank you so much for all the support for last week's episode. Layla is absolutely amazing. And inshallah, she will be back at some point because there's a lot to ask, a lot to learn, and a lot to talk about, right? So with that said, let's get straight into this week's episode. And I want to start with something, guys. Oh my God. It finally got me. It's finally here. And I can't believe I fell for it. What I'm talking about? Okay, so let's take it back in time. I think it must have been around 2008 or 9 or something long time ago when I was still very young. I heard will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas talk about that one day computers will replace artists, that one day artists are not going to be needed anymore. And the worth of artists is kind of like going to be like, shrinking.
Because of this artificial intelligence, like when it's time to make a new song, I just type in the lyrics and then this thing sings it.
Wait, that means I don't gotta like rap anymore or something?
Okay, so you're saying machine can do anything that an artist or a group can do?
Yes. This is what's going to take the P's into 3008. This is the future right here.
I'm not just gonna not go to the studio and not sing anything. I mean, it takes the soul out of it.
You can still go to the studio. It could be go to the studio and check out what the machine does.
Yeah, but
and it's that time now. It's literally that time now. You guys know about all of the ChatGPTs and everything. And then there's like apps where you can literally create songs. You can tell it what genre you want, what kind of artist you want, like what kind of voice you want, what kind of lyrics it should write. It produces it for you in minutes. And then if you don't like it, you can say, no, let's try again. And it will do the same thing again in minutes, right? So I guess that's what I was talking about years ago. You didn't lie. It's all true. And I appreciate real artistry. And you guys know, if you've been here for a long time, you know I don't listen to music anymore actively. I don't sit there or do stuff and listen and have music playing in the background. I haven't done this in a very long time for many different reasons. Some of the reasons I can't even explain, and some are very much explainable. But again, different story, different chapter, different day, different time. Now, every now and then, there's a song that hits me, right? And I like it, and I will listen to it. And this is something that happened last week, right? I came across this song, and I fell in love with it. It's actually 2 songs I fell in love with both songs. I loved the voice. It was so soulful, something that we actually really need, with all of these melodies and auto-tunes and all of these softwares that you make vocals sound much better and artists sound on key. I prefer more like voices with soul, with real pain, with something to say. So these songs, they really spoke to me. One of them in particular, it's called The Price of Peace. So let's get straight into it.
To keep the peace, bit my tongue, held my breath, let people stay in rooms with me who drained my spirit half to death. I was the glue, the listener.
This song is by an artist called Zania Monet. Now, I have decided last week, okay, who the hell is Zania Monet? Let me look into it, right? So I looked into it. And before I looked into it, I came across this video from Kehlani. Check this out.
I think you guys think that AI can just be the cover for something, which some people can use. They can make an AI cover. AI can also make the entire fucking song. It can sing the entire song. It can make the entire beat. You can have a song that's one type of song and say, AI, make this into a country song, and it'll literally rewrite, re-sing in a country voice and redo the entire thing. And they don't have to credit anyone.
So you guys see, I watched the video and I was like, okay, that's wild. That's crazy. All right, never mind. Let me go back to Zania Monet. So I went and looked, and I thought when I was listening to Zania's song, like beautiful voice, absolutely amazing riffs, right? It reminded me like of a Whitney Houston or some type of like, very, very, definitely very soulful singer with amazing lyrics. But something was off with the vocals. There was this like a particular sound that AI vocals have to it. And yeah, I found out Zania Monet is an AI artist. And I was like, the hell? I fell for this. You guys heard Kalani say, like, people work for this, people craft this, people, put literally like sleep on the floor, do all kind of crazy stuff for it. Like each to their own. If people want to sacrifice all of this, by all means, right? If you believe in yourself, or if you feel like you got it and you want it, like we don't need to talk about how dirty this entertainment industry is. We already know, but just like from the artistry point of view, I get it. I really do. And Kaylani been somebody who's been in the game for a very long time, and she's been working on herself constantly. She's an amazing performer, amazing artist, amazing everything as well. But now AI is coming and taking over. So I looked into it, it's like, okay, so this is Zania Monet got a $3 million deal. So who's getting that money? Clearly it's not AI. I get it. With the performance, probably it's going to be like what is it called again? Hologram and all of that. I get it. But who's getting the money? So I looked into it. And there is this woman called Talisha Johnson, I believe, from Mississippi, and she created Zania Monet. She has a studio and she's a poet. Now, on the other side, right, you can criticize the AI arts, but it's people behind them who actually bring them to life with their creativity. And this gives poets and other people like writers a chance, to bring their music or to bring their lyrics, their poetry, and create and turn it into sound. And they don't have to work with unreliable artists. They don't have to pay crazy studio fees and whatnot. Like obviously if you're a producer, you can produce the beat. But if not, then you're going to have to go and get it somehow, buy it or get it produced, however, so there's that part. But now you're cutting out a lot, like video clips. Okay, you probably have to edit one, or you don't have one, or you get one created. I mean, it wouldn't be surprised if like they have AI soon that's going to create a video clip for your song. All of that is going to probably be here very soon, right? So I can't hate on it, but I hate that I fell for it. I really hate I fell for it. And if you listen to the song, like even if you don't like the music, if you don't like the song, her vocals are amazing and the lyrics are on point. So yes, we can only play we could only play a little clip because copyright and whatnot. It's crazy that we can even promote music that we like. But okay, you guys go listen to the song. The lyrics are so on point, they hit. And then the second, she's actually number one on the R&B digital charts already. With a song called How Was I Supposed to Know? But that was like my third favorite. My second favorite was like I Ask for So Little. So you go and check the songs out and you'll see exactly what I mean. It's absolutely insane. I can't believe it. I'm actually, in a way, I'm very sad about it, but it is what it is. AI music, AI art is here now. All right, you guys, let's move on. And one of my favorite topics that I will not stop talking about, A, because they don't let me, B, is because I don't let me, because it's very, very, very important to me. Because It does affect all of us. It affects journalists the most. It affects public figures the most, TV hosts and everything. Of course, I'm talking about censorship. We have Jimmy Kimmel's situation, for example. His show was completely canceled by ABC, owned by Disney, because why? They're a puppet to the government. And people probably say, oh my God, why are they canceling this so easily? And why are they not fighting back? This is how TV and radio works, y'all. You cannot, there's always one thing that people need to understand. There's always an upper hand. There's always a higher hand. You can own a TV channel, but if they don't want you, or if they don't like what you broadcast, they just gonna cut you off like that. Okay. And the reason and how they do it is because every radio station, every TV station needs a license. Okay. That's the frequency license, so that you can actually broadcast and you have access to these waves and stuff that your content is broadcasted on, right? So now you just need to acquire these licenses, and it's not just like anybody can go and say, hey, I want a TV license. You have to pay for it. You have to maintain a certain, conditions, and there's a lot to it. And sometimes, and they don't just hand out license just like that, just because you pay for them. Then everybody would have a TV station, more or less, right? So you kind of have to apply, and then you have to wait if there's a license available, and so on and so forth. So if they did not cancel Jimmy Kimmel, I suppose they would have the FCC, that's what it's called, right? This owned by the government, everything big owned by the government, by the way. There is no way a private person, you can, as a private person, you might can own a TV station, but you cannot own the frequency.
Brendan Carr pressured ABC to cancel Jimmy Kimmel, and Disney cancels Jimmy Kimmel. This canceling from an administration that lectured us about cancel culture. That's why today I'm introducing a motion to subpoena Brendan Carr, to bring him in front of this committee, to stop the intimidation of private businesses and to stand up for the First Amendment.
So this, the FCC is not like a private company. It's owned by the government, and they decide who gets the license and how long you get the license. So if they want to cut that off, they're going to cut your airwave up. They can take you off air, basically. Okay. So this was the threat, right? So much to, and you know what's so funny to me? When Trump was running, right, and he had his campaign, he was talking so much about free speech. And I was joking at that time. I was saying, right, so he's so adamant about freedom of speech, and I agree with him 100%, but it sounds like a little bit weird because, I don't know, I don't trust the guy. Whatever he says, he's going to do the opposite of it. And exactly that is what happened. He's doing the opposite of it. All of this pro freedom of speech talk, where is it now?
President Trump renewed his call to pull the broadcast license of television stations that broadcast criticisms of him. This week, ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel indefinitely after the late-night host commented on the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
The newscasts are against me. The stories are 97% bad. So they gave me 97. They'll take a great story and they'll make it bad. See, I think that's really illegal, personally.
Your freedom of speech for you, freedom of speech, what they want us to say, or if somebody says what they want to hear, that's how it works. And CK clearly showed it, right? I don't condone death, violent death. I don't condone killing. I don't condone murdering of anyone. I'm not going to sit here and celebrate CK's murder. I'm not going to make fun of it or anything. But there is a very fine line between being, in a way, tasteless or tasteful when you, as a comedian, try to make light of this kind of situation. And I guess Trump didn't like it. And there is so much fun made of and so much disgusting things and humiliating things about people being murdered every day. People are not even caring about who's being killed in the Congo, who's being killed in Sudan, in Haiti, or anywhere else. It could be like your everyday person, right? Nobody cares about them because why? Because they don't hold no public status. And I find this sad. And if this guy was taken out and assassinated for freedom of speech or by a particular other people that are very much, how do I say, making sure that they repeat themselves, that they didn't do it and have nothing to do with it. This is the wildest thing. Imagine a public figure gets assassinated in a country. Now, somebody from a whole different country, as I was saying last week, books primetime TV slots to say that he didn't do it. This is kind of like wild. It's so bizarre to me and interesting all at the same time to observe how much this is actually taking over, how much this actually of importance it holds. Other people die and then we talk about it for 1 week or 2 weeks and then we move on. You know, it's very interesting. So now Jimmy Kimmel is obviously very upset. I mean, a bunch of people, like his staff, lost their job like overnight. And I don't know what he's going to do. Like, there is some rumors coming out. I mean, like, look, when there was the writer's strike in Hollywood, him, Jimmy Fallon, and Stephen Colbert, who was also canceled recently, Seth Meyers, and John Oliver, they did a podcast miniseries. What was it called again? Strike Force 5. That's it. Okay, it was a miniseries. They wanted to just like support the writers and their staff, so that's why they did this miniseries, this podcast miniseries. And who knows? They're like, you know, like most people who are fired, they all start their own show online. I mean, these days, like basically, cuff your license. Like online is there, and yes, we're shadow banned, and yes, we're canceled, and even like big creators, you know, like they get demonetized if they say the wrong thing, if the wrong people hear it, if the wrong people find out, you know. So yeah, they could do that to Jimmy Kimmel, but I mean, Tucker did it. So many people did it. So come on, why shouldn't he be able? On another example where somebody really stands 10 toes down is Jerry from Ben and Jerry. Oh my gosh, I could do with some cookie dough ice cream. Ben and Jerry's. He left the company after 47 years because social justice was very important to them, and that's the premise that they built for this company. They spoke up about, you know, different type of rights, like whether it's racism, discrimination, anything. They've been very vocal and active in that space. And all of a sudden, Unilever, their mother company that bought them 20 years ago, they've been to court with them again and again. And because these people are against genocide, and when I say these people, I mean Jerry, of course, not Unilever. Unilever wants them to shut up. They don't want them to speak. Jerry was still talking. Jerry was still vocal. He was still active, and they didn't like it. So Jerry now made that decision to just leave because he doesn't want to be silenced. And it takes a lot to make that decision, you know, and give up your career, give up your achievement, give up everything you can. I mean, 47 years, I get it, like, you know, like that's a lifetime achievement. Nobody can take it away from him. But when you quit something, or when you stop something, when you resign, it should never be because of being silenced. That never sits well. But I guess he did what he felt was right for him. And I commend him for that. If it's genuine, I genuinely commend him.
I am resigning from the company Ben and I started back in 1978. This is one of the hardest and most painful decisions I've ever made. This isn't because I've lost my love for the people at Ben and Jerry's. Quite the opposite. They're the soul of Ben and Jerry's. What has made their work so important to me And what allowed the company to be more than just an ice cream company was the independence to pursue our values, which was guaranteed when Unilever bought the company. For more than 20 years under their ownership, Ben & Jerry's stood up.
I also have another example of censorship, and this is not this time with somebody rich, somebody famous. This is a former military guy from the US, and he was silenced. He was investigated for his social media posts on Gaza. And I'm bringing these three different examples, right? Because you have one from who's a big late night TV host. You have the second one, Jerry, who is a business owner, right? And he works under the umbrella of a big company, and he's been doing this like practically most of his life. And then you have this military guy who was censored.
Yes, you heard that right. I am deemed a threat to national security because I don't support Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people. Since when does not supporting a foreign nation get a U.S. soldier investigated for being a threat to national security?
Insane. Literally insane. And there's more censorship going on. Like, we're daily censored. We have to use different words online. And the funny part is, I want to remind everyone, and I said that actually months ago. I did say it didn't start now. It started when YouTube guidelines started changing in 2013. And then everybody was trying to oppose it and petition it and everything, where certain words couldn't be used anymore, certain content couldn't be made anymore. And this kept getting stricter and stricter and stricter. And look where we are now. So you guys, it's official. After weeks of many organizations, Amnesty International, Save the Children, and you name it, ruled it to be a genocide that's going on in Gaza. The UN finally concluded their investigation, and they say it's a genocide. Are we still not allowed to use that word? Are we still getting censored for using something that they made official? For 23 months when it started, we've been screaming it from the rooftops. And we are now we're not professionals. We're not experts. But it was very, very obvious. Something that's been going on for almost 8 decades, where people are being assassinated left, right, and center, no matter what man, woman, child, what age group, what home, whatever, destruction. Everything destruction, agriculture destroyed, homes destroyed, lives destroyed. I mean, it wasn't hard, but it took them almost 2 years for the UN to rule it a genocide. What's going to happen next? What is going to happen next? Netanyahu talked recently about that the biggest lie spreads the fastest. And I want to say thank you for admitting that, because your big lies definitely spread fast. I'm not going to lie about it. And I don't know what to say, y'all. I don't know what to say. This is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. You know what? Every lie, how they say, is based. Every genocide is based on a lie.
Imagine the Israeli pilot, 24, 26 years old. How do you motivate a military person to unleash that type of power on a densely populated civilian area? You need an incredible lie, and that's what October 7th provided. And I will say that although we don't have the definitive public inquiry, I think ASA's work on October 7th and others, including the Gray Zone and the work that I've done and other of my colleagues. And you can actually, through the process of deduction, work out more or less with a margin of error how many Israeli civilians were actually killed on October 7th. You do so by...
And now let's get to the most annoying voice of the internet, aka crybaby, aka whiny baby, aka I don't know what, Ben Shapiro. He was recently at the Breakfast Club, and I think this couldn't have played out better. So first, Benny Boy comes on, right, and he talks his talk, all his propaganda. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't. I can't stand the man. I'm not gonna watch him. I'm not gonna listen to. I genuinely don't care about what he has to say. And then a little bit later,
the definition of genocide is not met in Gaza by any stretch of the imagination. And you can cite to me, a group that I hadn't heard of until 2 seconds ago, and nobody had heard of until 2 seconds ago, that voted in a particular way. That doesn't make a difference definitionally.
So what is a genocide to you?
A genocide is the attempt to forcibly destroy an entire population, which is not what has happened.
So it's not the attacks on like the personal facilities needed for like survival, like healthcare and educational institutions.
Well, again, Israel has shipped in more humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip than literally any army to in a population that supports the enemy in literally all of human history.
The master debater himself came on, Mehdi Hassan. He is currently also promoting his book. And he came on a Breakfast Club. And this is such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful video. The Breakfast Club actually cut together. When Mehdi came, they played it to him, like this is Benny Boy talking his ish. And then after that, we have Mehdi debunking him completely.
Right, he said we don't give them that much money. We give them $3 billion a year. We actually give them close to $4 billion a year, and last year we gave them $18 billion a year. He said they've been shipping in aid. You just played that clip. Israel doesn't ship in any aid. The aid comes from everyone else. He acts like Israel's giving the aid. It's international aid that Israel decides to switch on and off whenever it wants.
And it played out so perfectly because of Charlemagne's question to Benny Boy. Oh my gosh, like...
But on the genocide question, it's funny that he kind of patronizingly says, these genocide scholars, they didn't give you the definition. And you rightly said, what's the definition? And he said, forcibly destroying a whole population. That is not the definition of genocide. The 1948 Genocide Convention gives us the definition of genocide. Article 2, it says very clearly that genocide is any of the following acts with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, religious, racial, or ethnic group.
Every time I come here, I mean to be professional and call the people by what they call, by what their name is, even though I don't like them, and all of that stuff. I just can't. I'm just a child. Sorry, not sorry. So now that the UN finally ruled it a genocide, because Israel is fulfilling 4 out of 5. I want to challenge the 5th one, to be honest.
Breaking news, United Nations investigation team says Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.
Breaking news to bring you now. A report by the United Nations has concluded that Israel is committing genocide.
You guys, this migration thing is really, 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 really on high promotion at the moment. Like, it's been there for years, right? Like, migrants were like number one, like, let's get the propaganda machine on, let's get some people, wound up, let's do it. And this time it happens in Europe as well. But there was like this beautiful speech that somebody says, very passionate, very very, very, how do I say, on point about mass migration. Listen to this.
Wrong, wrong, wrong. This debate is both factually and morally wrong. There is no mass migration to Europe. In fact, there is a 66% drop in the applications of asylum. And the second wrong is the EU-wide data shows that sexual violence is committed by EU nationals, by men who are known to the women.
So you guys heard it, 66% 66% of a drop in asylum applications, right? And yes, I agree. I'm not a feminist. Again, a disclaimer, I'm not a feminist. I never want to be seen as a feminist. I don't care about feminism. This feminism that, well, what they turned into feminism of this time or this era is absolutely nothing to do with me, right? But yes, it's not migrants who commit sexual violence or sexual crimes. It's men. And it's been actually a study. This is nothing new. Like when she says wrong, 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 it's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's always the first that you go to when it comes to sexual crimes, right? It's always like family members and people close to home, friends, neighbors, anyone close to home. That's the go-to. That's the first go-to.
The common denominator here is spelled M-E-N, men. That is where the wrong is. The far right are twisting facts into ignorant, hate-fueled portrayal of migrants. Correlation does not equal causality.
And since we're talking about racism and all of that kind of stuff, we need to spend a little bit of time on the UK because we have not done this in the past couple of months. And I said that last time. It feels like the UK is on a, like, sometimes I feel like there's any second there is a civil war breaking out, right? So this last week I talked about it briefly. There was this little, what is it called again? Freedom of Speech Festival that march to unite Britain. From when I was in London, living there, from when I spent time there, from when I went back there, it's such a multicultural place and you have to love it. It's all kind of like different people from all different ethnic backgrounds, all different races, right? And this is how the world should look like, right? In my opinion, anyway, this whole concept of tribalism and borders and different countries and all of that, to me, I can't get with that. I just love the mix, okay? And that's how it should be. Because at the end of the day, like all of this, I feel like, honestly, the whole world is colonized by us humans in one way or another. Like nobody should have ownership right to any place, because it wasn't giving to anyone in particular. So whatever. Anyways, again, a different weird story of mine. So this march where it was supposed to be about migrants and we need to keep the UK together. We need to stand together. It's all of us. And the government is doing this to us and inflation. And it's all because of the foreigners. And they come here with the boats and all of this talk, right? About race-related crimes and whatever, right? It was all insane. So now we have...
I've been tracking all the race and hate-related crimes across the UK this month in September alone, and in the first 2 weeks there has been about 50 different incidents that I can find that have been publicised. This doesn't even include 2 days ago, because my data is a few days out of date, of the 9-year-old girl who was shot with an air rifle in a racially motivated attack. Now, you've definitely probably heard about the Sikh woman who was raped, and as they were assaulting her, they told her, "You don't belong here."
All of these people here who fell victim to radicalized young people. You guys, these are kids, 12, 15, 17, 18-year-old kids committing crimes, okay, attacking people, murdering people, attacking mosques or homes, cars, anything.
But did you by any chance hear about the student in York who was assaulted on campus by 2 guys who said to him, "Hello, refugee," and then they assaulted him because they thought he was a refugee? Did you hear about the 2 different football matches that were cancelled mid-game because of the intense racism directed towards players? Did you hear about the 17-year-old boy who is now 18, jailed in Glasgow for racially attacking a 13-year-old with a knife?
That is wild. These are children. And they're being radicalized, and you guys worry, and you know, like they invented and created this term radical Islam. There is no such thing as radical Islam. There is Islam, and radical is an adjective you can use to describe a person. But you can radicalize people on both sides, granted. 100% you can radicalize people with everything. But now, these people that are so anti-Islam and that are so scared of Islam are radicalizing young people.
The 18-year-old girl in, where was it, in Bedminster, literally murdered somebody, racially murdered, and she has just been charged. 15-year-old boy was sentenced because he was plotting an attack, which was racially motivated, and he was radicalized into extreme right-wing domestic terrorism. A 15-year-old girl in Scotland who was Muslim was walking back, I think, from the Islamic Center and was attacked racially on that street.
Once you do something like this, once you assassinate people because of a hate crime in terms of like race related, religion related, that's your life gone. And you're only 15 and you don't realize it then because now you're radicalized, you're indoctrinated, you're only 17, you're only 18. You don't even understand what you really did because you're not fully there, bro. And that's what you want? And that's what you allow these people to do without any consequences? And you have to love the commitment, right? You have to love the commitment and the money that is being spent, like on a what do you call it? On a march against, a freedom of speech festival, on a march against the influx of migrants, right, into a country. You're gonna have New Zealand people, like indigenous New Zealanders, coming all the way from the other side to here to cause havoc by like ripping up the Palestinian flag and all. How is this having space on a march that is supposed to reunite the Brits? Somebody explain this to me, please.
Paid actors, do you know what I mean? Why would you come all the way from New Zealand to London and do this on a stage? They're on a stage in front of thousands of people ripping apart this flag. Innocent children, innocent people are getting over there. You know, you already know. I ain't got to go into details. And you guys are on stage ripping apart these flags. Surely people from indigenous backgrounds would understand the pain of colored people.
Furthermore, okay, I have to chuckle a little bit because this is absurd to me, right? You have a race. You have why do I call it race, bro? You have a march, right? And a lot of these speeches held were by foreigners, the same people that you say you have enough of. I guess they're white foreigners, or you just allow some in there.
And freedom of speech is not compatible. It has to be clear that Islam is our real enemy. We have to get rid of Islam. Islam doesn't belong to Europe. Islam doesn't belong to the UK. And the answer is simple. Stop the boats and send them back.
And all of the speeches is anti-Islam. How much they hate Islam and Islam has no place in Britain. You British people want to go back in time and see if all of your kings or any ruling person from the past did not happen to be part of Islam. Okay, you guys do some more homework. Or if you guys who are watching, because you're not these right-winged ignorant people, you just ask them next time if they really did their due diligence, if they really checked the history. And then check this guy out, bro. Check this guy out. He's gonna come with an Israeli flag to a Let's Reunite Britain march, anti-Islam march. It's what it really was. So this just says a lot. The Palestinian flag is being destroyed, and you come in with and this is not the same guy who done it. I'm just saying. And somebody else comes with an Israeli flag, and he's not the only one. But check out how offended these people get and how offensive they become.
Israel's a Jewish land, though. Israel, you said Britain's a Christian country, but Israel's a Jewish country. So why have you got the Israel flag? I don't get it.
Oh, I see. Right. Because Christianity and Judaism are quite related.
Well, what's this got to do with the Israel flag? I'm confused.
I don't know. You're far too complicated for me. I don't really care.
So you don't know why you're waving the Israel flag?
I do know.
Why?
I do know more than you. I'm waving the Israeli flag. If I had an IDF flag, I would be waving that against.
And it's not stopping. It's not stopping. Here's some more ignorant responses to some very simple questions. And if you don't know the answer, it's perfectly fine, but it just showcases the ignorance of people and what they know.
Who created the first university? Oxford. Huh? Oxford is the first modern university. No. The first university was not Oxford University. The first university was made by Fatima Al-Fihri.
England. I don't care in your country that's totally bankrupt.
Who started Oxford University?
Monks.
No. Daniel of Morley. Where did he get the idea of Oxford University from?
I don't want to talk about this with you.
You're the one that brought it up. Daniel of Morley went to Andalus, which was Muslim Spain, but he learned about the university and then came here.
And these are the same people who don't know how much Muslim people in the past and way, way back before all of us were even here or were even, remotely planned. There's so many people who did something like when it comes to math, when it comes to medicine, when it comes to so many, many different things that the West all over time colonized and made it theirs. If it wasn't for Muslim people who did this and who invented things and who created things and who discovered things and progressed things, elevated things, these ignorant people think they're it. It's amazing. And of course, the highlight of all of this is, right? The highlight of it is now the not richest man anymore, Elon Musk. Oh my God.
The left is the party of murder.
Elon Musk
if
showed
this
up.
continues, that violence
But via
continues
video,
you.
that
You
is,
will
okay?
have no choice.
Don't
You're in a
get
fundamental
excited. It's via video,
situation here
in
where
case you didn't see it.
Whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die.
Fight back or you're gonna die? So that's what I'm talking about. Radicalizing young people, misleading young people, indoctrinating young people.
10 hilariously ironic moments from that far-right protest yesterday. I mean, it was like a comedy of contradictions out there. First up, you had this guy wrapped in an England flag, munching on a cheeky onion bhaji. The best part? He's at a protest complaining about migration while literally eating food that's probably served by a migrant or their kid. Culinary irony at its finest. Then you had three blokes, also draped in their proud England flags, deciding the best way to uphold British civility was to, well, urinate behind some bushes, because nothing says we're the civilized ones like public urination at a rally about how migrants are ruining the British way of life.
Okay, you guys, let's get to something very serious. This is something that's been happening every now and then, and it's such a weird timing that it's happening now. And yeah, it might be coincidental, but I don't know. So there is two men that were found hanging in Mississippi.
I want to talk about both cases separately. The first at Delta State University, where a 21-year-old Trey Reed, who was from Grenada, was discovered Monday morning. He was found, quote, hanging from a tree on campus. Authorities quickly said that they ruled out foul play, but an investigation remains ongoing. Then we found out that another man in Vicksburg, Mississippi, was found also hanging from a tree. That man's name is Corey Zukatis. He's a resident of Brandon, Mississippi. He was found, quote, hanging in a wooded area on the 4100 block of Washington Street.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So Trey Reed and Corey Zukatis. It's absolutely crazy. I don't even know what to say to this, except I hope that that there is a thorough investigation and that they don't just just do some fluffy work and just sweep it under the rug. I really hope they don't. And I really hope that their families definitely stand on business when it comes to this, or their people. And there was also something that happened in New York. In New York, do it. there were people reporting this here.
Imagine driving and seeing someone hanging from the overpass. This is what nightmares are made for. What are we, back in the 1930s? This is insane. I mean, I literally feel like I'm in a time machine right now. What about you? Anyways, of course, the cops arrive on the scene and they automatically, within 5 minutes of seeing the person hanging, they label it as a self-unaliving. No autopsy done yet. No findings in the investigation, because there probably isn't an investigation.
And you know what, guys? They still, up to now, this happened on September 16th. I looked into it. They still haven't released his identity, like his name, his race, or anything. And, you know, it's very easy to say, or to label this as a suicide. And I find it absolutely insane. I can't just, it's what I'm talking about. It's what I'm talking about. I just hope that they do a clean job. And this is very, very weird, because it's a very interesting timing. Right after CK, there was threats to HBCUs, Black universities in the US. So they were on lockdown. 8 of them, I believe it was 7 or 8, didn't open, you know, for safety reasons. They didn't want to chance it, even though it was later on, it was like hawks and whatnot. But yeah, you don't want to chance it. You do not want to chance it. Mind you, allegedly, it was Tyler Robinson who assassinated Charlie Kirk. Oh my gosh. I am. So threatening HBCUs. That's why I'm talking about the radicalization and the ignorance. People are not thinking straight. They're just acting. And with that, it brings me to something which is a very, very strange concept to the West, right? So now check this guy's response out to Charlie.
Part of my family is from Tehran. They're Iranian.
They are Shia Muslim.
No, they are Christian. They're Armenian. They've lived in Tehran their entire life. There's a big community of them. They have churches that they go every single Sunday. They are proud of who they are. They wear their crosses out. Not a problem. But let's talk about Egypt, Syria, Jordan. They have thousands of churches there. They have big Christian faith over there, but they are Muslim majority countries and run by Muslims, and the churches are protected.
See, contrary to popular belief, this is how some people truly feel. Yeah, and this just, you know, this just shuts you up, right? There's something that the West doesn't understand. And if we don't see that there is a real war on Islam, I don't know. If we don't see it, if we still don't see it, I don't know. And the guy doubled down. So in a way, it's like my little very sad haha moment, you know? It's not what you expected as a response, right? Mr. CK. But yeah, some people really feel that way. And I understand for a lot of people in the West, it's very, very weird to understand. Okay, let me come to something that I find also very weird to follow, okay? So you guys know what's been going on in Palestine since the Nakba, and even prior, right? So we talk about 77 years, we talk about almost 8 decades, but it's actually way, way longer. Right? There were conflicts, there were Palestinians being assassinated, there were, you know, land being taken already, all slowly, and then 1948 happened. And then how some people say since 23 months, almost 2 years, almost 24 months on steroid. And now it's been officially ruled a genocide. The IDF soldiers, you see them celebrate on social media. You see them post their atrocities. You see them, you know, literally celebrating what they're doing, right? And standing 10 toes down, if they had probably 100 toes down on what they do. I've never encountered so much evil in my life. I've never heard so much evil come from mouths out of people with no empathy, not even I don't know, a milligram, anything. right? But I will say this. Let's listen to Anna and see what Anna has to say. Anna Kasparian, she talked about it. And I came across this clip and I wanted to respond to it a little bit, just a little bit. So let's see what she has to say.
You're watching Israeli soldiers dump piles of psychiatric medications on the table during a Knesset subcommittee meeting on mental health. The medications included fentanyl and other drugs that soldiers have resorted to as a result of the mental health crisis they're facing due to their role in the ongoing genocide in Gaza. And they argue that the Israeli government is not providing enough support to keep them sane.
So you guys, you heard it. The IDF soldiers, they went to the Knesset and they kind of like presented their case with their mental health. And we've been knowing this, how many people like, like 24 and 21 in 2024. So far, it's 12 without the active reservists. My gosh, without the active ones that are in Gaza or even in the West Bank, right? So all of these people are not counted in these numbers that we have right now, right? So there was these suicides, but it's not just suicides that are happening. We had many cases where soldiers woke up and they woke up all panicked, all with anxiety, and they shot their wife. Another one shot their friends. It just happens, right? Because they are mentally completely destroyed. Now they're complaining because there is literally nothing for them. They are just like, mentally not stable whatsoever anymore because they cannot get with the program. So all of this, right? All of this is just, I don't know what to say. In a way, you could say there should be some empathy, sympathy, but I can't. I don't have it in me. I really try, but I don't have it in me. But anyway, it's not about me. I just wanted to say to Anna and everybody else, don't worry. There is a nice new law that's in the US, which is probably coming everywhere else, that is supportive of this whole madness. And that is that taxpayers are going to be charged to pay for the retired IDF soldiers so that they can get treatment and better treatment for their mental health. Because, we all know, right? Like in that place over there, healthcare is for free. Not like in the US, right? But now they want better healthcare, right? Because they need special mental health treatment. Let me tell you this. You might can manage, but you will never come back from what you did. No matter how many drugs you take, no matter how much therapy you do, it doesn't really matter. It's absolutely atrocious. People who are just watching this on their mobile screens, on their phone screens, can barely deal with it, let alone people who are there committing it. So yeah, it's in a way sad. And this is the only thing that I find sad, and this is one of the things that I've been always talking about as well. It bothers me with military on a whole. When you send people to war zones, when you make people commit atrocities, when you make people participate in wars, you mess up their life. All of this PTSD that they come with after people drown themselves in alcohol or take drugs or whatever just to numb themselves a little bit. Is it really worth it? And that's why I say what's sad is that the leaders of these places in this world, they don't care. Because they're nice. Like they're sitting in their homes, chilling, doing whatever they want to do, And these people are out there. These people sacrifice their souls.
And so this has taken a toll not only on the innocent civilians in the Gaza Strip, but it's apparently taking a toll on the mental health of the IDF soldiers who interrupted and protested during this Knesset subcommittee meeting. Now, this has led to suicides among soldiers. According to figures cited by Channel 12, at least 12 soldiers have died by suicide so far in 2025, a figure that does not even include reservists not on active duty at the time of their deaths. So the number is actually an underestimate. It's actually higher. So in 2024, 21 soldiers died by suicide, the highest annual toll in over a decade. In 2023,
like, and I was talking, like, there are numbers, like people, there's soldiers, like a lot of whistleblowers who come out and they say they fire 50 to 60 shots a day, and especially with this whole GHF crap that they have going on. They have commanders yelling, take him out, take him out, take him out. Oh, it's just terrorists. Take him out. And it's kids. It's women. They don't even know how many people they assassinated. They have no idea. There's so many different numbers now. Like, it went even up to 700,000 assassinated people in Gaza and over 163,000 injured in 2 years. You guys, let's move over to Africa. Let's go to Nigeria. So Nigeria, they're doing something crazy. And on one hand, you can say that's great. On the other hand, it's actually, not so great for the farmers and everything. So there is a 6-month ban, right? And 6 months doesn't sound long. I understand. But there's a 6 months ban of exporting shea nuts. Okay, shea nuts or shea nuts, however. Yeah, shea nuts, not shea. Shea is something else. Oh my God.
Nigeria has announced a 6-month ban on the export of raw shea nuts, the fruit at the heart of the production of shea butter, a key ingredient in soaps, lotions and cosmetics. Now, the move is aimed at boosting local butter production, as Nigeria is at the bottom of the supply chain, despite contributing about 40% of global shea crop. But the sudden policy has sent shockwaves through rural communities whose livelihoods depend on nut sales.
So, shea nuts are used to make shea butter, shea moisture accompanying. There's other shea products with shea nuts, very moisturizing. There's all type of stuff these days with shea butter in it. So there is, as I said, a 6 months ban of exporting it, and Nigeria is responsible for 40% of the global supply of shea nuts. Okay, and this is a lot. 40% is hell of a lot when you think about, like, that's what's going out in the world, like, all the time from one country. 40%. And all of the farmers are now suffering because they don't know how to make ends meet, because now the ban just came all of a sudden. It was not announced to them so that they could sell their stocks and, they could make some money in advance, or they can come up with something, This was just like thrown at them, because these people are relying on this. There's people who this is how they, obviously this is their job, that's their work, that's their livelihood. And now it's supposed to be on standstill for 6 months. And then they get in debts and more debts because they still need money. These people have families to feed, bills to pay, and so on. And the reason why Nigeria is apparently doing this, because it's supposed to create more jobs and, the local boost of factories, like manufacturers. So, on the one hand, I understand that. I mean, that's a great idea. You just want shea nuts or shea butter products produced locally in Nigeria, and the world gets it from you. I get that. But what happens with all the farmers? Because 40% is a lot. So there's a lot of people farming shea crops, or shea nuts crops, I should say. So the prices are going to collapse. That's what they're scared of. And, economically speaking, and this is a problem. This is a huge problem. I really want to see where this is leading, because I find this extremely interesting. As I said, on the one hand, I get that. Local production, sell it to the world, this is good for the country. But how is it helping the individuals? Okay, we're going to stay in Africa, and we're going to go to Sudan and the DRC. Let's talk about Sudan first. So the UAE and US and Saudi Arabia and Egypt, all four, proposed a 3-month truce of ceasefire, to the SAF in Sudan. Okay. And that's wild to me because, I mean, like 3 months, first of all, okay? And these countries, the UAE in particular, in the US, who are involved in what's going on in Sudan, all of the atrocities, we're talking about millions of displaced people. We're talking about like the worst humanitarian crisis, right? Foreign aid is shrinking. There's a lot of corruption going on, especially in South Sudan. And mind you, Sudan was such a rich place in food and so many different resources and still is, right? And the RSF are still being very destructive. Yes, we talked about it. Khartoum is already under the SAF again, but the area around Darfur and some other areas, the RSF is still very destructive. And they're going for the infrastructure first, is what they done from the very beginning. They always went to the infrastructure first. That's why we don't have any footage coming from there.
The audacity to think that the UAE, alongside with the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, to propose a 3-month truce peace agreement with the SAF can just happen after the RSF recently attacked the past couple of days in the White Nile state, hitting power stations and other civilian infrastructure.
So it's really insane. And we're talking about 400,000 people assassinated. There's diseases and all of the sexual violence committed against these women. And as I spoke about last week, when we talked about Qisma Ali Omar, we talked about it, how these women are being tortured, how these women are being violated, and their family members have to watch them, and then they assassinate them. And now they are posting this online. And that's what I was talking about earlier. And that's what I said last week. It sounds familiar, right? There is another set of group of people who exactly uses the same method, torture people and put it online, commit atrocities, put it online. I feel personally this is part of the supposed desensitizing program. But what do I know? So you guys also know what's been going on since forever in the DRC, in the Congo, right? And basically Qatar tried to broker a peace deal. Okay, this is supposed to be signed in Washington soon.
First up, DR Congo's stability hangs in the balance. The main players in DR Congo's rebel crisis are meant to be gearing up for the signing of a crucial Qatari brokered peace deal due to be signed in Washington in a few weeks. Now, that on paper is supposed to end the conflict that's upended the country this year. Rwanda is set to pull its backing of the M23 militia that invaded parts of eastern DRC in January, and the rebels are expected to have to hand back to the government key seized cities.
And what it means to be, what it means on paper is that, they're gonna hand back, cities captured by, like the M23 is gonna hand back cities and stop the aggression, right? The ongoing aggression. They say it's supposed to be, giving up their weapons and whatnot. But the M23 has been recruiting new members, 7,000 to be exact. How is that possible when there is a supposed ceasefire deal on the table to be signed in Washington? The M23, you guys know, are definitely funded by Rwanda, and that money is coming from somewhere else as well, as we all know. And now the Congo has been really, really, really going through it for so long. And again, not enough people talk about it. Not enough about it is out there, right? So schools used to be free. And this is one of the flagship policies that the president has going on. So he's very upset that the M23 rebels brought back school fees. And it's, you can say it's $3 per child a day. It can go up to $15. I don't know what it's really dependent on, but people don't have it. People don't have $3 because that $3 they need to buy food with. They need to feed the children. They need to buy the shoes or whatever that is that the children need or they need. So $3 sounds like crazy, but they don't have it. And especially because now the M23, they closed banks and the teachers are not really getting like any type of, they don't have any income or anything. So they're trying to combat that with the $3 from the people. And in the east of Congo, the schools are not even open due to the fighting. Kids don't even go to school over there. And I want to say this again. Goma is a place similar to Gaza. They contaminated the water. There is no electricity. There is starvation. And it's a small place. Let's not forget that. And of course, when we talk about all of this, we have to talk about the USA. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. Like the FBI director, Kash Patel, who was appointed at the beginning of this year, 2025, he was and is under heavy scrutiny. Now, there was some hand notes written that went viral, like good faith would swallow and hold the line. That's what he wrote. He says it's motivational. People took it definitely very bad. So he faced some criticism for that and watched Jasmine Crockett go crazy on him.
I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing except for trying to put on a show for the apprentice or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted.
So he came under scrutiny also for like politicizing the FBI. Because, for example, like, you know, like the premature announcement of arresting the assassinator of CK, which was obviously, yeah. Then he came under the scrutiny because of the not released Epstein files, and he was like talking about how, you know, they released what they could release and stuff like that, and they like finding out that these files are under direct protection of the director of the FBI. I mean, obviously it is politicized, but I don't know if it's necessarily just politicized by him, politicized just by him or by the lawmakers, so to speak. You know, I think you know, there's both parties have a role to play here, and it's very interesting. So he was just a public defender, y'all. He was just a public defender who became a federal prosecutor. I wonder what he did to become because public defenders, do they really have this kind of like big of a career jump from public defender to federal prosecutor? Interesting. And then he became a senior aide to Congressman Devin Nunes. Okay, who's a Republican, and he helped him also with the Nunes memoirs. And Nunes is also very interesting. So you can see like all of the connection here. Since December 2024, he was appointed by Trump to lead the president's intelligence board. Okay. He was appointed by Trump, and then he became the director. Oh my gosh, I'm talking shit. I got confused. I confused you guys with me probably. Nunes, I'm talking about Nunes, right? He was appointed by Trump, not the other dude from the FBI. Nunes was appointed in 2024 December as the leader of the president's intelligence board. And not only that, he has been and still is the CEO of Truth Socials. It's really interesting. And then, of course, I mean, look, this is America, okay? We're talking about the US politics here, but the US politics wouldn't be nothing if there wasn't another prime minister from a whole different country who somehow is always inserting or himself or is being inserted. So let's take a look what Netanyahu had to say.
Netanyahu's words about that.
They have no limits. When you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd movements. And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. You know, over the centuries, when Jews, especially in the Middle Ages, the horrific Middle Ages, the worst things were said about Jews you couldn't possibly believe. We were poisoning the wells. We were drinking the blood of Christian children. You name it. I mean, these things, that continued actually after the Holocaust.
What's your reaction to Netanyahu's response?
Completely over the top.
I get it, you guys. I get it. If it's not Hamas, it's everybody hates them. Everybody is out to get them. Sad. Okay, so we cannot leave him out when we talk about US politics because he is such a monumental part of it. But now we're going to go back to something that I have been watching for a while. I've been conversating about it for a while with people around me. And that is the rewriting of history, right? One of the historical rewrites was like to ban schools teaching about slavery. I believe it was in Florida first. Was it that? And there's this weird guy over there. I forgot his name right now. And now they're removing slavery science. Peter, check this out.
Is now reporting that the Trump administration has ordered the removal of signs and exhibits at multiple national parks, including a historic photograph of a formerly enslaved man showing scars on his back.
And now, last but not least, this is something that Dylan Page definitely, or Dylan or whatever his name is here, definitely is on point with. This was not present in the media world whatsoever.
We have just witnessed the largest delegation ever of US lawmakers visiting Israel, and I almost guarantee you have not heard about it. 250 state legislators representing all 50 states arrived in Israel on Monday, and they attended an event at the Foreign Ministry titled 50 States, One Israel. On Tuesday, the lawmakers then took part in a ceremony where they planted 50 trees, one for each state, at one of the locations of the October 7th attacks. Netanyahu's office described it as the largest ever bipartisan delegation of American lawmakers to ever visit the Jewish state. Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar.
So 50 states and one Israel, and they planted trees. It's a very interesting ritual. And all of this to urge the passing of anti-BDS laws in the states. Like 12 states are not under the anti-BDS laws yet, right? But they want all 50 states to be under that. They say the best answer to BDS is anti-BDS laws. Guys, if this wasn't so serious, I would really be cracking up. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. So I think that's all I have for this week, you guys. And I think that's more than enough. So thanks everybody for tuning in. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe. If you made it to the end of this episode, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. If you are on the streaming platform, subscribe there or come over to YouTube and subscribe. Just be here next week. Yeah. I want to say same time, same place, but I can only say same place now. I really hope that I'm going back to the Tuesday schedule. I'm really trying my best. But sometimes I just cannot do the Sundays for whatever reason. That's when I record. And then I have to give the editor some time as well, obviously. All right, with that said, you guys, I'm out of here. That's it for me. And I will be back next week with a brand new episode. Peace out.